I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise and treasures that fade are never enough. Then you came along, yes you did, and put me back together. And every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. We'll claim it today, church. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Better than you. Oh, there's nothing. Sing it, church. Oh, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. One more time, church. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. We'll claim this last part of me. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into
me back again. Now I am rising up, won by the Savior's love. Your love is higher than the stars, declaring who you are. Your love, uncontainable. Your love is deep enough to reach the deepest part of me. Your love, uncontainable. Your love. The fear I used to know can't stop me anymore, 'cause I found your love. When I feel alone, I have a place to go, because I found your love. Great was the debt of sin, grace brought me back again. And now I am rising up, won by the Savior's love. Your love is higher than the stars, declaring who you are. Your love, uncontainable. Your love is deep enough to reach the deepest part of me. Your love, uncontainable. Your love. I don't know how you guys are still standing. We should be dancing. Nothing, no nothing can change your love. 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 Is higher than the stars, declaring who you are. Your love, uncontainable. Your love is deep enough to reach the deepest part of me. Your love, uncontainable. Your love, declaring who you are. Your love, uncontainable. Your love is deep enough to reach the deepest part of me. Your love, uncontainable. Your love, nothing, no nothing can change your love. Nothing, no nothing can change your love. Nothing, no nothing can change your love. Nothing, no nothing can change your love.
Hey, good morning, church. Come on, can you give Jesus your best praise today? My name is Matt Blair, and along with my wife Erin, we're honored to be the lead pastors here at Limitless Church, and you have joined us on a very special day. You've seen a couple of worship songs. Now I've hopped on. We're going to do another worship song. Pastor Erin's going to share a little something. We're going to do another worship song or two, and then I'm going to wrap us up. And why are we doing that? Because this is our final service as Limitless Church. Now, if you're watching this going, wait, what? This is the first time I've ever joined. This is it? What you probably should do is stop watching this live online service right now, the one that's premiering right now live. Go back and watch last week's service and the message and get all of the info about our church merging and becoming a part of Radiant Church. Then you'll understand why today is our final worship gathering as Limitless Church. And that brings some mixed emotions. We get it. There's some sadness that this will be the last time we will gather as Limitless Church with the blue flags and setting up and tearing down at Childs Elementary School, which some of our people are shouting hallelujah for that as a set up and tear down church. But there's 6+ years of gathering together corporately in worship. Of course, last year during the pandemic, a lot of that was online, but 6+ years. We were coming up on our 7th year anniversary in September. And so there's that mixed emotion of the finality of Limitless Church worship experiences. But I don't want that sadness to overwhelm, because remember, this isn't a dying, this isn't a burying. We have a God who's in the resurrection business. So we're not like finality, like ending this. We're never going to see each other. We're not friends anymore. We're not your pastors. None of that's what's happening. We explained all of that last week in the merge video. No, Today is a celebration of all that God has done in and through Limitless Church as a place where people can meet Jesus and become all that he's called them to be. Like, that's what that is, and we're celebrating that today, and we're also celebrating the fact that God has immeasurably more in store for his church as we become a part of the Radiant Church family next week at the North Tampa campus at Gaither High School. And I'm going to share more about that later in the service. But I thought it was important to start today by taking a look back. I think when we take a look back at all that God has done, we're able to get more excited about all that he has in store for us. And I was thinking about this. In April of 2014, 7 years ago, we had just had our first interest meeting in the public, telling people about the vision of what we were calling then Bay City Church. Some of you may not even know we had to change our name. It was called Bay City Church, and we had our first interest meeting, and after that interest meeting, ARC, the organization we planted our church through, just said, hey, your friends up the road at Bay Chapel are not but 10, 15 minutes away, and we don't want people to be confused. Bay Chapel, Bay City, we didn't want it to be confusing. We would like you to consider changing your name, and it's one of the greatest things God ever had us do. It allowed Erin and I to really press in and say, God, well, who are we? What is the church you've called us to plant? And Limitless Church was birthed out of that. But we had our first interest meeting in April of 2014 at the YMCA. And we had, I think, somewhere around 25, 30 people come out to hear the vision and the heart behind this life-giving church we wanted to plant here in New Tampa. And it's amazing. From that interest meeting, a few families joined. And over those next 5 months, as we prepared to launch in September, we had more and more people join the team. And a miracle happened in September 14th of 2014. We launched a life-giving church at Freedom High School. In their auditorium, 162 people showed up. Leading up to that, we had 35 to 40 adults and children join our launch team. It's a miracle anyone jumped in. That they listened to Erin and I share about a church that they could not see, they could not worship at, and they could not physically have a tangible representation of. All they knew was the dream in our heart, the vision we shared, and they jumped on board and were a part of it. Some of those families, like the Mitchell family, who was the first family to say yes, are still with us. Colin McGinn, there are a few handful of others, Tracy Spataro and her daughter Lauren and Mulaney. Like, those are the ones that, they call it a launch team for a reason. Some people come and help you launch, and they move on to the next thing God has. But in that time, more and more families joined over those years. And now, almost 7 years later, we have this thriving, healthy, life-giving church that we call Limitless Church. It was birthed out of a miracle that anyone even showed up, because you couldn't see it. It was just a dream. It was just a vision. But now, 7 years later, it has become this healthy, thriving church that God put on Erin and I's heart. Now, some of you may be going, then why are you closing that down to go do something else? Because this is God's next best step. And here's what I want you to understand. I think it's amazing that 7 years ago we shared a vision that you couldn't see and you couldn't worship at and asked people to join us. Here we are 7 years later, and we're asking you to do the same thing. You have yet to see Radiant Church in person, most likely. You haven't worshiped there. And you are having to take our word as your pastors to trust us that this is God's best. This is the vision. This is the plan. So come along with us. And how do you know you can trust God, his visions and his plans? Because you have seen him do it over and over again. The Bible tells us in Hebrews 11:1 that faith is confidence in what we hope for and an assurance of what we do not see. That's what faith is. That I can't see it, but I believe it. And I believe God's got something good there. I love how the Passion Translation says that same verse. It says, now faith brings our hopes into reality and becomes the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. It is all the evidence required to prove what is still unseen. Like, it's the evidence. And I'm telling you, you're going to have to take a faith step with us as we make this transition to join the Radiant Church family. Trust your pastors that we've seen it, we've experienced, we know the healthy culture, we know the life-giving love of Jesus that's there. Trust us that as you step in, even though you can't see it, it is God's next best thing for us. And how you trust God is you look back and go, look at all that he's done. He's going to do the same thing. He's going to do the same thing. Look, I just want to take a moment and let's celebrate some of the things we've seen God do so that you can trust him and have faith in him. First and foremost, can we just take a moment and celebrate that since we started Limitless Church, we have seen over 500 hands raised to make a decision for Christ in our services. Come on, That is why we're here. We are in the life change business with Jesus. That's why we do what we do. We don't do it to have church services or cool events or worship songs and preaching. We do it to see lives transformed, and over 500 hands have gone up in the 6+ years to make a decision for Jesus. That's big. That's a big thing. And there has been some partying in heaven over lives transformed, and everyone who calls Limitless Church home has played a part in that. Through your generosity, through your serving, through being a part of this, you have seen lives transformed and people's eternities changed from death to life through Jesus Christ. Come on, celebrate that today. Hey, another thing is, I know about our church, and I've already told the team at Radiant and some of the location pastors, especially Pastor Jacob at North Tampa, I said, listen, we have a group coming with us, this remnant of Limitless Church. They understand one thing very important, that servant leadership is our calling. They are some servant-hearted, servant-leading kind of people. And I believe that what you've been doing at Limitless, you're going to jump right in at Radiant and do the same thing. And here's what I want you to get. In the first year of our church, you all trusted me when I said, hey, I got a crazy idea. Let's do a helicopter egg drop for Easter. It didn't make any sense. We were a very new, small church with a very tight budget, but you trusted me when I said, hey, here's a way to love our community, serve our community, reach people that are not here and need an encounter with Jesus. So let's do something fun to hopefully get them to come experience Easter with us. And on that crazy idea, y'all are like, I guess so. This small little engine that could church saw almost 1,000 children and their families show up in 2015 right before Easter for a helicopter egg drop. That's what you've done. You showed up, you served, you loved. So we did it again the next year. Had food trucks on site, made it even bigger because that's your heart. You say, let's serve people, let's love people, let's help them meet Jesus. We have served more snow cones as a church at that YMCA after basketball games for families. We actually got known as the Snow Cone Church. Remember that? Because we're out there just serving snow cones, inviting people to church, hoping that they would come experience the life-changing power of Jesus. And we saw families come from that, who are a part of our church, still are a part of our church, because you went out there and you served and you loved and you were the hands and feet of Jesus. We were the Snow Cone Church, right? You've served local schools by providing meals for teachers, painting lockers, painting those plastic table coverings at Freedom and Liberty. You have also renovated teachers' lounges. You've mulched courtyards. You've pressure washed schools. You've done whatever you could to help love our local schools and make them better. And that's all you, especially during the pandemic, we kept doing that. You have helped provide meals for families in need and partner with other organizations. Like you have served and served. You have also served here on Sundays, either on setup and tear down. You've been in the parking lot. You've been putting up signs and flags, David Heiser. Come on in Jesus' name out there putting the signs and flags up to help people get here. You've been on the production team or the worship team. You've hosted, you've greeted, you've been making coffee. You've been working with our children's department. You've been a group leader. You've been on the safety team. You've also done so many other things to go, hey, I'm going to be the hands and feet of Jesus as a part of Limitless Church. And here's the good news. All those opportunities are available and waiting at Radiant for you to do the same thing. Like it doesn't change. Because servant leadership is the calling. Remember, if you're too big to serve, you're too small to lead. That still applies. We're going to be servers. We're going to serve people. We're going to help people meet Jesus. We're going to do all that God's called us to do. That is the heart's cry of our church as we take this next step in with our Radiant family. You've been incredibly generous. An incredibly generous church. Generosity is our culture. We're just going to have a culture of generosity. You have helped us give well over $100,000 in missions since we started our church. Come on, somebody. In church planning, in hurricane relief, our orphanage in Haiti, helping fight human trafficking and other social justice issues through our partner, No More, as well as meeting the needs of the people right here in your church and in our community. That is your generosity that has made an eternal impact in the kingdom of God through Limitless Church. And here's what I want to tell you today. As we continue this process of merging in with our Radiant Church family, your generosity needs to continue here at Limitless till September. That's when our 501c3 officially dissolves and everything merges into Radiant. So through September, keep giving here. Keep giving online. Mail your checks in. It's on the screen right now. You can keep giving. You can text, give to the number on the screen. You can mail a check. Give online. It's the easiest way. Set up automatic giving and give. That's going to allow us to keep helping the orphanage for a season, to provide the missions, things we want to keep doing, and cover ministry costs, the minimal ones we'll have, until the merge becomes official in September. Keep being generous. You've made an eternal impact. Don't stop now. And then in September, we're all going to shift that generosity to our Radiant Church family and watch God do immeasurably more. You heard Pastor Erin in the video last week say they've already given a couple $1 million away in missions since they started their church a year before ours. And they have a dream to give away $1 million this year alone in missions, and we're going to be a part of that. Come on, somebody. The seed we're going to sow that's left here in September financially is going to help accomplish those things. And then also, we're going to start giving there and be a part of a greater impact. That's what generosity does. So again, keep giving here till September. Keep sowing in, and then we're going to help you understand how to transition your gifts to Radiant come September. Now listen, I could talk for days about the amazing things God has done over the last 6+ years. But I think the most important thing to highlight is the community that we've all found here. You found. The people that you do life with. Some of you have been doing life with people in this church for 6+ years. Maybe it's only been 6+ weeks, but no matter what it is, you have found community here. And that's the most important thing, because Jesus came to restore a right relationship with us and the Father. He's in the relationship business. He restored our relationship with Him, and we have a personal relationship, not religion, with Jesus. It's a relationship. And then He gave us this beautiful thing called the church, His people, His body of believers. So we need one another. That's the most important thing Limitless Church has done for you. I've had people text and say, hey, thank you so much. I found my friendships and my community here. People that I'm going to do life with for the rest of my life. You're right. Because the name on the building changes, that doesn't change. This is your church family. The name on the building doesn't change family. We said that last week. Remember, when a bride gets married, she just gets a new name and a whole big extended family. She doesn't lose her family. We're not losing our Limitless Church family. It's getting a new name. We're going to be a part of the Radiant Church family, and there's more people ready to welcome you in and you to welcome them in to do life together. Community is the most important thing that has happened, because life change happens best in the context of authentic relationships. That is what we have seen here. We are the family of God, and family doesn't change just because the location changes. Come on, somebody. Just because the location of where you meet changes doesn't stop you from being family. We are always going to be family. Hebrews 10:24-25 says this, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another all the more as you see the day approaching. Don't stop meeting together. Next Sunday, you need to be at Radiant Church's North Tampa campus at Gaither High School at 10:15. Service starts at 10:30. I'm going to talk more about that later on, but you need to be there, gathering together with the church family. Don't just do online. Listen, if you can't be with us in person, watch the online service at weareradiant.com. Watch it there. Join the online campus, but you need to come in person. Come meet your church family. I'm going to share more about the exciting things we have planned with that. Don't stop meeting together. Don't let, just because Limitless Church, this entity of a church body, stops gathering under that name, stop you from being with the family of God. You need to be in church. Keep coming to church. Keep showing up. Keep growing. Keep experiencing all that God has for you. And as a church family, I want to encourage us right now as a family to take a few minutes and worship together. And after that, my amazing bride, Pastor Erin, she's going to share with you a little bit more about this idea of what transition looks like and how to accomplish and transition well with God. It's going to be very impactful. After this worship song, we're all worship together. Let's listen to Pastor Erin share about how we can all learn to transition well. Again, we're so excited for all that God's done. Remember, the Israelites set up 12 stones on the other side of the Jordan to remember this is where we crossed over on dry land. So we have a memorial. Don't ever forget all the great things God's done at Limitless. They will be fuel for you to remember God still has great things in store. We don't forget what we've been through and what we've experienced, but we always want to propel forward to what God has in store. And Pastor Erin's going to share more about that in a little bit, about how we transition well. Let's worship together.
In my bones you're about to move. I feel it in the wind you're about to ride in. You said that you would pour your spirit out. You said that you would fall on sons and daughters. So come. Spirit out. You said that you would fall on sons and daughters. So let the rain come drench us in love, and let your glory rush in like a flood. We are fixed on this one thing, to know your goodness and see your glory. And we're transformed by this one thing, to know your presence and see your beauty. I can see now your kingdom come. I can hear now the sound of heaven. You said that if we ask, we'll receive. We are asking for the greater measure. So let the rain come drench us in love, and let your power rush in like a flood. We are fixed on this one thing, to know your goodness and see your glory. And we're transformed by this one thing, to know your presence and see your beauty. So come and blow on through, Spirit move. We're ready for you to come and blow on through. Come and do what only you can do. So come and blow on through. Spirit move. We're ready for you to come and blow on through. Come and do what only you can do. We are fixed on this one thing, to know your goodness and see your glory. And we're transformed by this one thing, to know your presence and see your beauty. And we are fixed on this one thing, to know your goodness and see your glory. And we're transformed by this one thing, to know your presence and see your beauty.
Good morning, church family. I am so glad you are with us this morning. I believe that this is a marking moment for you. I have been praying for weeks that God would really stir in us this desire to transition well, to know how to handle change. Often we hear people say, I don't like change. And I've said that before too, but I have a different perspective on that. I think that we don't mind change, especially as women. We love to change our hairstyle, our hair color. We love to change the style of our clothes. It's transition that we don't like, and transition comes with change. Transition invokes emotion, and sometimes it's hard to know how to process emotion in a healthy way. So we're going to talk about that today, because I want you to be successful in transitions in life. I want you to know how to handle them and to have victory as you are going through your own kind of transition. Let's go ahead and jump into the word. We are going to be in Luke 22:41 through 44. And this is where Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane. This is the night before his crucifixion. The word says, "Then he withdrew from them being his disciples, to a short distance to be alone. Kneeling down, he prayed, 'Father, if you're willing, take this cup of agony away from me. But no matter what, your will must be mine.' Jesus called for an angel of glory to strengthen him, and the angel appeared. He prayed even more passionately, like one being sacrificed, until he was in such intense agony of spirit that his sweat became drops of blood dripping onto the ground." This place where Jesus was, Gethsemane, is known as the place of the oil press. The oil press. The more crushing, the more oil was produced. Often in life, we go through times of crushing and times of pressing, and we don't know what to do with that. But if we can seek God in the midst of crushing and pressing, he will do something so powerful in us that it will come out through us, and it will bring an eternal impact to those around us. And so today I want us to learn from Jesus when he was in the garden. And I want to talk about, how do we transition well? How do we transition well? I have 4 steps for us today. So if you're taking notes, go ahead and get your notebook, get your pen. If you're not taking notes, go get a notebook, go get a pen, because this message you will want to return to at some point in life. Even if you don't feel like you're in a transition right now, at some point you will be, and you'll want to know how to handle it well. And I want to encourage you with these words and these steps. So the first one, pray first. Pray first. Let prayer always be the first place you go in times of transition, in times of change, in times of not knowing what to do, in times of feeling uncomfortable. Pray first. Before you pick up the phone to call someone, pray first. Luke 22:41, it says, "Then he withdrew from them a short distance to be alone. Kneeling down, he prayed." Jesus modeled this for us. He got alone, he got low, and he got honest. That is where we must begin. We must get alone. We must turn off the noise. We must get away from the crowd, the responsibilities, and get alone with God. And get low. I encourage you, get on your knees before God. It is a posture of humility before him, that he is greater. He is greater than anything, and he deserves all of our praise. When I pray on my knees or I pray on my face, there is just this divine connection that I seem to have with heaven. And I'm reminded of how much I need God and how worthy he is. So maybe a next step for you in your prayer life is to get on your knees. I've even done prayer challenges with friends before, where we challenge each other to get on our knees daily, sometimes all throughout the day, because we need resets, right? I know I need a reset all throughout the day to be reminded of how much I need to focus on the presence of God and receive his love, so then I can give his love to those around me, to receive his grace so then I can give his grace to those around me. So we want to get alone, and we want to get low, and we want to get honest. Here's the news flash. God already knows how we're feeling. He knows what we're thinking. He knows more about us than we know about ourselves. So when we get in this place where we're alone and we're low, let's get honest with God. Let's tell him what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're battling. Let's bring it before him, because guess what? He has words to comfort. The breakthrough might be in the prayer, where peace comes. Maybe your situation doesn't come, but wisdom comes. And so you're able to walk through it differently than before you started praying. So let prayer be first, just as Jesus did. He came to his Father in prayer. Second thing in transitioning well is that we must surrender everything. Surrender everything. Luke 22:42. "Father, if you are willing, take this cup of agony away from me. But no matter what, your will must be mine." This is a place where we go with God and we're open-handed. And we say, God, give what you want to give and take what you want to take so that I can walk in your ways, so that I can complete the mission that you have for me on this earth. Heaven is our home. Earth is our mission. We weren't born to be here the rest of our life, thank God. It's why we so often can't be fulfilled, because we were made for something so much greater. We're just passing through. We're bringing heaven to earth, and we want to bring as many people with us from earth to heaven. And it will not happen if we do not surrender. So we come to Jesus in prayer, and we come to him with these hands that are open. And I encourage you to even pray with your hands open. Again, it's a physical response to our loving, kind, faithful, amazing God, that we're saying, we trust you. We trust you with our kids, with our marriage, with our future, our finances, with our health, with our mental health. We trust you, God. Number 3, the third part of transitioning well, is you must grieve the change. You must grieve the change. Luke 22:44. He prayed even more passionately, like one being sacrificed, until he was in such intense agony of spirit that his sweat became drops of blood dripping onto the ground. I want you to know this morning that that was not a metaphor, that is a rare clinical phenomenon. That Jesus was under such distress and agony, and he was actually operating out of the fight or flight mode, that the blood vessels in his skin burst, causing there to be blood. He was grieving. He was present with his pain. He didn't run from it. He didn't numb it. He didn't overanalyze it. He didn't try to hide it. No, he came to his Father in prayer. He surrendered, and he was honest with where he was in his grief. And that's what God is asking us to do, that we are honest with him in our grief, in the midst of change. And here's the thing, even good change brings loss. Even good change brings loss. And I want to talk about that just for a couple minutes. There's actually a teaching by Bill Bridges, and he talks about the 7 kinds of losses. And I don't have time to go into detail, but if this interests you, if it speaks to you, please reach out to me, and I would love to get you more information so you can dig into this, so that you can walk through life knowing how to deal properly with your emotions. We all experience the same kind of thing, but in a different way. You think we all went through COVID together, but we all have different experiences. We're all going through this church merge together, but we have different experiences, different challenges, different highs, different lows. And if we don't recognize the loss that you may be experiencing, you can get stuck and develop a victim mindset. And we don't want that. We don't want that for you. We don't want that for us. We are more than conquerors in Christ. So we must be in tune with what we're going through, and we must be able to walk through it in a healthy way, because there is so much good to come. So here are some of the losses. One is a loss of identity. Maybe in a job situation, you had a certain title, and you get a new job, and it's a promotion, and it's a great thing, but it's a new title. So there's a loss of identity there. Loss of turf is number 2. If you move, even if it's a good move, it's an exciting move, it's a new location, it's a new place that you have to get used to. Number 3 is loss of structure. Anyone who has become a parent knows your structure is out the window. You no longer get to sleep through the night for some time. Becoming a parent is a great thing, but there's still loss involved. There's a loss of control. How many of you know, again, as parenting, you can't even go to the bathroom when you want to, because you want to and there's a diaper that needs to be changed. Or you do go to the bathroom and someone is knocking on the door. There is a loss of control. Loss of future. Maybe you in your mind had what your future was going to look like, or maybe you had what your kids' future was going to look like, and that didn't happen. So there's a loss. Number 6 is loss of attachments. If you move somewhere and you develop new friends, you're not as close to the old friends that you once had. That's a loss of attachment. And number 7, loss of meaning and purpose. Maybe you found great meaning and purpose in your schedule and in the way that you live life, and now there's been a change, and so you're struggling to find that meaning and purpose again. These are all very normal things to go through in life. So what do? 3 easy steps. You want to recognize, 1, what am I losing? It might be more than one of those losses. You want to recognize, pinpoint that. Number 2, how will I respond? So the change maybe is something that you didn't choose. It chose you, but you get to choose how you get to respond to it. And then the 3rd, you want to give it a ceremonial type ending. So think of like a quinceañera. In Spanish culture, this symbolizes a girl that is going from childhood into womanhood when she turns 15, and it's a celebration. So that's something in culture. But maybe something personal for you, I know for me, is that when I go into a new season, I like to get a new journal. There's something about it being a new chapter of my life that I want to begin to write about and pray through and process my feelings with. Even going out to eat, to celebrate an old season as you step into a new season, that could be a way of marking the moment. And the fourth way to transition well is to anticipate the good to come. Anticipate the good to come. I love this scripture. This is Hebrews 12:2, and it's from the Passion Translation. We look away from the natural realm and we focus our attention and expectation onto Jesus, who birthed faith within us and who leads us forward. He leads us forward, not backward, not staying stuck. He leads us forward into faith's perfection. His example is this: because his heart was focused on the joy of knowing you, then you would be his. He endured the agony of the cross and conquered its humiliation, and now sits exalted at the right hand of the throne of God. Jesus, in the midst of agony, in the midst of torment, in the midst of uncomfortable feelings and grief, what allowed him to endure that? To endure that moment and endure the cross, it was because he had his eyes fixed on what was to come. The joy in what was to come. What was that joy? It was being obedient to his Father, completing his mission on earth. And it was you. It was you. It was knowing that he was going to finally reconcile mankind back to the Father. That he was going to bring purpose to people's lives on earth. That it would be an eternal impact. And for us, as we go forward, we get to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, who is going to lead us into abundance and goodness. He is going to lead us into the land of the living, where his goodness is already prepared for us. It's like he's just pulling up a chair for us to eat a feast at the table with him. The joy to come when we talk about becoming a part of the Radiant family, it's people. It's people. It's new friendships. It's new opportunities. It's being unlocked and unleashed to develop greater skill sets, to develop in our giftings, to allow our hunger for God to grow, to see a harvest where the lost are going to be saved and the saved are going to be healed. There is so much goodness to look forward to as we continue to step into all that God has for us. And the best part is we get to do it together. We get to do it together. And so I want to end today encouraging you to live life like this when you are in change and transition. To pray, to surrender, to grieve, but don't stay stuck there. Fix your eyes on the author and perfecter of our faith. Fix your eyes on the joy that is to come. So let's end with praying with our hands open. Our hands open, saying, God, we're going to surrender. We're going to give you everything. I pray right now, whatever is on your heart that you need to let go of, whatever the Holy Spirit was speaking to you about during this time, go ahead and give it to him. Go ahead and talk to him about it. Jesus is our friend that we can share any and everything with. He doesn't turn his back on us. He doesn't say, I'm busy. He doesn't hide his face. No, he makes time to come close, and he sits with us. And he says, I'm not rushing your process. Let's just sit and talk this out. And at the right time, you'll stand up and we will move forward. But maybe some of you can't move forward because you have yet to invite Jesus to come and just sit with you in your pain, in your questions, in your doubt. And so take this moment to do that with open hands. And I want to pray over us. Jesus, we love you. We love you so much. And in this moment, we are declaring that we are surrendering everything to you. You are a good God. You give good gifts. You pour out your love on us when we do not deserve it. And so, God, may we receive your grace in this moment, your empowering grace that allows us to look into your eyes and to know that we are loved by you, we are seen by you, we are adored by you, that you don't neglect us or leave us, but you are leading us into the land of milk and honey. So God, we want to do this well. We want to do it in a way that honors you. Help us, Father. Help us to do it in a way that honors you. You are all that we want. And we celebrate you. We give you our yes before we even know what we're saying yes to, because we can trust you. You have been faithful in the past, and you will be faithful again. So fill us up with a love that will spark revival, with a love that will lead people into your presence, with a love that will break chains for generations to come and break strongholds and melt the stony hearts, God. We want to see miracles. We want to be left in awe and wonder of who you are. You are everything, and we are nothing apart from you. So we give you praise this morning, God. We give you glory. We give you honor. We are so thankful to be sons and daughters of an amazing King, a living and active God. We love you, Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Walking around these walls, I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet. Waiting for change to come, knowing the battle's won, for you have never failed me yet. Your promise still stands, great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands, this is my confidence, you never failed me yet. you're still enough. Keep me within your love. My heart will sing your praise again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me yet. Never fail me.
Even the mountains that seem too big, you keep on moving. You keep on moving.
I see you move. You move the mountains, and I believe. I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe. I see you do it again. I seen you move.
We've seen you move.
I move the mountains, and I believe. I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe. I see you do it again. I see you move. You move the mountains, and I believe. I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe, God. I see you do it again. I see you do it
Your promise it never goes away. You're faithful,
Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me yet. Never fail me.
Woo! I want you to know I specifically chose that song, Do It Again by Elevation Worship, before this last part I wanted to wrap up with. I love that. We've seen him move mountains. I'm going to believe he's going to do it again. Like, that's the importance of looking back and transitioning well, because you realize that the same God that did immeasurably more in the past, that can do things greatly in your present, is going to do them again in the future. That is what we're talking about here. It allows us to launch forward with confidence that God has seen us through over and over again, and he's not going to take us here to drop us now, right? He's not taking us into this new season of merging in with our Radiant Church family to drop us now. It is a launch pad into the immeasurably more that God has for us. We've seen him move mountains over and over again, and I believe he's going to do it again. Trust me, as your pastor, I believe God's going to do immeasurably more than we could ask, dare, dream, or imagine in this new season. And I just want to take a little bit of time as we wrap up today to go over what's next for our church family in the next few weeks as we merge in with our new church family at Radiant. First and foremost, I want to tell you, it's going to be amazing. Like, hear me on that. It's going to be amazing. I truly believe you are going to love Radiant Church. I believe it. I wouldn't have merged us and led us here if I didn't believe that. Our family loves it. I believe you're going to love it. You're going to make lifelong friendships there. You're going to watch God do incredible things in this Tampa Bay area, this nation, and this world, in and through our Radiant Church home. Like, you're going to see it. And you're going to grow and flourish and thrive in this new church family. God has brought us here to explode us and expand us and to do great things through us. So next Sunday, April 25th, so next Sunday, April 25th, you're going to meet us at the Radiant Church North Tampa campus, which meets at Gaither High School. Now the service starts at 10:30. It's mask optional, so you can wear your mask if you're comfortable with that. Don't have to. We're asking you to get there at 10:15. Please arrive at 10:15. Why? So you can get yourself acclimated. You can get used to the campus, get your children checked in if you need to. Also come find your seats with us. We're all sitting together. They have a section reserved for us to sit together, worship together, and experience our first Sunday at Radiant as a church family together. So get there at 10:15. We'll meet in the parking lot at Gaither. We'll all come in together. It'll probably overwhelm them. We'll look like a tribe just marching in. So it's going to be an awesome time. And here's what I'm really excited about. After the service, we have something really special planned. A mutual friend, Nick West from Four Rivers. Remember, Nick is the general manager, helps out with a lot of Four Rivers stuff. He's in their management team. He's helped us during all of our youth fundraisers when we've given out Four Rivers barbecue plates as a fundraiser. Nick actually attends the North Tampa campus of Radiant Church. And he said, hey, I'd love to open up the Carrollwood location. We're closed on Sundays. We love that about Four Rivers. It's a Christian-based company. He says, we're going to open the Carrollwood store just for the Limitless Church coming over and the Radiant team to come have lunch after the service. Come on, somebody. They're catering something in. I don't know if it'll be the full normal Four Rivers barbecue stuff or anything else, but we're grateful. They're going to cater a meal in. We're all going to go right after service as our group to the Carrollwood Four Rivers and have lunch together. We're going to share a meal. You'll get to share, talk about what you experienced, what you liked about everything, and who you met. We'll all just have lunch together to fellowship. And then after teardown, come on, we know what that's like, being a set-up teardown church. The team from Radiant, their leaders and their directors, some of their other members will come join us at Four Rivers about 1:15, and we'll have a chance to hear from Pastor Jacob, maybe his wife Lexi, and their team, and just get to know them, exchange phone numbers, get to know somebody. That's the most important thing. Get to know somebody on their team. Get a phone number, exchange information, and let's get plugged in. That's the most important thing. So after service, another reason to come next week, we're going to Four Rivers afterwards. That's usually closed on Sunday. That's like Chick-fil-A being open on a Sunday. Come on, somebody. We're going to go to the Carrollwood Four Rivers, have lunch together, and meet some of the Radiant team. It's going to be an amazing, amazing Sunday, so you want to be with us. And then, throughout the month of May, we're all, my family too, going to attend the North Tampa campus. We're encouraging you to come to the 10:30 service. Come together, let's sit together, and let's worship together. The first 2 Sundays in May is when they host their Next Step classes. We're not exactly sure what that's going to look like. There's a good chance after the 10:30 service, they're going to do a Next Steps class specifically for our group. We'll all go through it together. It's about an hour after the service. I believe they have childcare provided as well. And we're going to get to learn the culture, the values, and the heart behind Radiant. And we'll begin to learn, just like we did our Connect class. That's their Next Step class. Erin and I are going to be there too with our family. We're going to be learning right alongside of you. So we're going to plan on that. We'll give you more details as we get those nailed down of either it's going to be right after service, the first 2 Sundays in May, or they may set up a special time and location for all of us to go through Next Steps together. So keep an eye on your emails. Make sure you're in the loop with us. You need to stay with us through the emails. Check your emails, check text, stay connected with us so you can get all of that information. But throughout May, we're going to gather together at the North Tampa campus, and then we really encourage a lot of you to stay there. Get plugged in and get connected. If there's another Radiant campus closer to you, by all means go there. If you live closer to the Brandon location, the one in Tampa Heights, the South Tampa location, by all means do that. But we would encourage you to stay at North Tampa, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to jump in and get involved. get on the dream team as quick as possible. Like jump on the dream team. Find a place to serve. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever you've loved doing and serving at Limitless, do it at Radiant. Like jump in the game. We all know if you're too big to serve, you're too small to lead. So we want to jump in the game and serve. And we know that's the best way to get connected to all that God's doing and grow in a community is when you begin to serve. So jump in, start serving. They're ready for you. Look, they're like, man, we're excited to have more people jumping in, serving, and helping us reach people for Jesus. Jump on a dream team, serve, serve, serve. Hey, I also want to encourage us all, when the opportunity comes, join a group. Meet more people in your church family. Jump in. Get in a group and do life with people. Don't do life alone, and don't do life by staying in your bubble. Like, don't just go there and go, I'm just going to hang out with my Limitless friends. No, no, no. Meet other people. Expand yourself. We don't want to be the group like you used to be in the lunchroom who's like, I have our own table and nobody else can sit here. Listen, everyone is allowed to sit with us at the table. There is always room at the table for everyone. Again, on that idea, I want to wrap up with this today. I want you to give you this idea from Luke 14. There's a great parable that Jesus teaches, and I want to close our time and prepare us for all that's ahead with this. It says in Luke 14, beginning in verse 15, when one of those at the table with him heard this, he said to Jesus, blessed is the one who will eat at the feast in the kingdom of God. And Jesus replied, hey, a certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servants to tell those who had been invited, come, for everything is now ready. But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said, I've just bought a field. I must go and see it. Please excuse me. Another said, I've just bought 5 yoke of oxen. I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me. Still another said, hey, I just got married, so I can't come. And the servant came back and reported to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry, and he ordered his servant, go out quickly into the streets and the alleys of the town. Bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. Sir, the servant said, what you ordered has been done, but there is still room. Then the master told him, go out to the roads and the country lanes and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those who are invited will get a taste of my banquet. Can I just tell you today, no excuses. No excuses. We want all that God has for us. The excuses sound good on paper. Hey man, I just bought a field, I need to go see it. You would not buy a field without testing it first. Your livelihood was a farmer. Like you don't buy a house without getting an inspection and going to look at it, right? Well, some people are in this market. It's crazy right now. But you go check out the house, make sure it has a roof, it's not falling apart. Then, hey, I bought 5 yoke of oxen. That's 10 that plow the fields and need to test them out. You don't buy a car without test driving it. It may not have an engine in it. The last guy, well, I just got married. You can sympathize with him, but it's still a bad excuse. In other words, I got my priorities and my things. No excuses. We want all that God has for us. We also want as many people as possible to join us at the great banquet table. There is room at the table for everyone. So when you jump into Radiant, start to go, man, I got to get more people here with me to experience the life change of Jesus. I want my friends here. I want my family here. I want my lost neighbors here. Come on, somebody. As your pastor, we are excited to lead you into this new season, into a promised land that will help us all do everything that God has called us to do. Like, we want to lead you into that. There are people in the alleys, in the streets, and in the highways, and the byways, and the country lanes waiting for someone compelled to bring them into the table. Come on, let's bring people to the table. I want you to come to the table. Don't miss out on all that God has for you. No excuses. Well, I don't know about that, and I don't like watching the sermon on a screen. Come on, somebody. No excuses. Well, I'll just stay home and watch it online. No. Get into the building. Get in community. Let's come do life together. Let's experience all that God has for us. And remember, this is not a death and burial of Limitless Church. Like, that's not what today is. Like, we're just burying this thing. We have a God who's in the resurrection business. He is simply resurrecting us into a new thing that He has called us to do. We live in Florida. We're all familiar with palm trees. Did you know that you can actually move a full-grown, healthy palm tree to a new location? They do it all the time. You dig a 3-foot trench around it, you go all the way down to get the roots, you wrap them up, and you take it to the new ground, make sure it's watered well, that it's got life-giving water there, and you bury it, and you cover it back up, and you make sure it's moist. And most palm trees, when done correctly, flourish more in their new environment than they did in their old. Healthy, full-grown. We are a healthy, full-grown, thriving church. And God is simply picking us up by the roots and placing us in a new fertile soil called Radiant Church, where we can thrive and be even healthier than we were before. And I want you to be a part of that and experience it. So come and join us, and then we will be able to experience exactly what Psalm 92:12 says. The righteous will flourish like a palm tree. They will grow like a cedar of Lebanon. Come on, who's ready to flourish in a new season? We are simply celebrating all that God has done. We are marking the end of this chapter, and we are immediately turning the page next week and planting ourselves in a fertile ground to go, now God, do immeasurably more in and through your people. And I'm excited to watch us all flourish. I have been honored to watch as the lead pastor of Limitless Church, and I will continue to have the honor as one of the pastors at Radiant. I love you, church. I'm so grateful that you gave Erin and I this opportunity to plant this life-giving church, and I believe all of that we've gone through these last 6.5 years are preparing us for this new season we're about to step into together. So next Sunday, I'll see you at 10:15 at the North Tampa campus at Gaither High School, and we're going to watch God do incredible things. We're going to have lunch afterwards. We're going to join this Radiant Church family. We're all going to thrive and flourish, and our best is truly yet to come. Now, if you can't join us, join the online campus at weareradiant.com. But hear me, be in the building next week at Radiant Church. 10:15, join us in the parking lot. Let's go join this life-giving community together, and let's watch God do great, great things. I love you, church. We're so grateful for you. And hear me, the best is truly yet to come.